My name is Robert Onyango. I'm the project manager for the Kenya Top 100 initiative, and this is the third year that we have had the Kenya Top 100. I'm privileged and honored to invite to the podium the Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nation Media Group, Linus Gitahi.
Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, let me acknowledge the presence of our chief guests, the PS, Mr. Nalo, and the PS for lads, Madam Angote, Dorothy Angote. Karibuni sana. And to the rest of us, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, distinguished guests, good evening. I'm delighted to be here, and first of all, I'm very delighted that we have those two good people as our chief guests, because I've always said that the PSs in this country, and I'm not saying that because they are there, I've always said that the PSs in this country are the unsung heroes of this government, because we know that many times when the rest of the politicians are quarreling and fighting, these are the people who've always held the government together. They are the CEOs of the organizations. So asanteni sana kwa kuja, and indeed, we are very privileged to have you as our chief guests this evening. So asanteni sana. I'm also very delighted again that we are here for the third year to celebrate excellence. Delighted because Top 100, right from when we thought about it, was mooted because we needed an opportunity to celebrate the good performance of organizations that in many cases did not have an opportunity to get recognized. And the reason they did not get opportunity to get recognized is because they are probably not the biggest organizations in this land. But when you do your math, you will realize that in actual fact, the top 100, and indeed the SMEs in this country, play a very significant role in the evolution of this economy. Yesterday, we were doing a little math and found that out of the 250 companies that participated in this exercise, and with an average turnover of 400 million, right there, we were talking about 100 billion Kenya shillings. Now, 100 billion Kenya shillings is about 10% of Kenya's annual budget. And those were not the only companies. Those are the only ones who went through this exercise. So when you add up the SMEs in this country, you realize that they are the true drivers of this economy. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, tonight is a moment of hope. Tonight is a night when, at the end of the day, when all this is beamed in our television stations and in the various media platforms, we not only give ourselves hope, but we do give hope to our children. We do give hope to other Kenyans. And we do send a statement that when Kenyans are gathered here as top 100, that indeed economic independence for this country is in sight, thanks to yourselves. Now, I'm also very happy tonight that we are actually celebrating this third year at a time when Kenya is rapidly changing. I was looking at some of the remarks that we are making on the first year that this happened. And I found that many of the things I was talking about were, in a sense, a little bit of mourning, a little bit of groaning, a little bit of saying the government should do this. And I think we also need to learn to appreciate when governments do good things. One of the reasons that we may have been late today is when you turn to every corner of Nairobi, and indeed most parts of the country, there are very few places you'll go with and not see a tractor on the roadside, trying to move stuff and trying to improve on the infrastructure. And that for us, for Nation, for KPMG, for Top 100, creates great opportunity for this economy, creates great opportunity for us and our people to expand our horizons and to ensure that we deliver better, more goods and services to the country. It also comes at a time when we've had a new constitution. And among other things, besides the fact that I passionately believe that the new constitution is a pro-business constitution, I think it also offers Top 100 huge opportunities, because as it gets implemented, as we open up more the counties and the county governments, I can see huge opportunities for us in Top 100 to deliver, again, more goods and services to our people. At the same time, again, this gathering is being held at a time when the East African Common Market Protocol has been signed in July. Again, 3 years ago, we were wishing that those things would happen. Today, it has happened. And again, it does offer us that opportunity of asking ourselves as Top 100, and indeed all other organizations, what does it mean for my business? And I see huge opportunities for us to move to the other countries, to move into Tanzania, to move into Uganda, to move into Rwanda and Burundi, and indeed beyond, because I keep saying that even if we conquered that whole area, we are talking about a population of probably 130, 150 million. But our real competitors from the East will be organizations in India who are having a domestic population of over 1 billion. We are talking about competing with the Chinese, who are having a population, again, close to 1.5 billion. So even when we do that, we'll still be having a relatively small market. And therefore, probably time has come even for us and the government to even think beyond the fact that we are having the East African community, and maybe think about integrating more into COMESA and even go beyond and drive the integration of COMESA and SADC so that we can have an even bigger market for our goods and services. And I hope that is maybe the direction we are going to go as we move. But then, just a little word of caution, particularly us in the nation has expanded a little into a few of those countries. And one of the things that we see is, or we've learned, is that it is very important as we expand that we look at partnerships, we look at involving the local people of those countries in driving the organizations that we set up in those countries. It is fair to say that sisi wa Kenya wakati mwingine tunakuwa wajuaji sana. So, and when we go there, sometimes we want to run over, those other guys, and many occasions almost tell them that they don't know. When we do that, we do get a little bit of resistance. And what I would urge and counsel is that as we expand, let us create partnerships and create win-win situations where we can work with our people in Uganda, Tanzania, and beyond, so that we can have enduring and lasting partnerships as we do that. I think for Top 100, the other reason that we gathered us together and doing this for the third year is that we are able to network. Because when we network, one of the things that this can lead to is critical alliances, critical business alliances, so that even as we move into the future, we create opportunity where we are able to bid for some of those bigger projects. I think we many times, I think it is probably fair to say that we always, as a people, and maybe as a government, and I'm fully conscious that my two friends, the PSS, are here. Many times we are a little quick to support initiatives. If a big organization came from China, it is much easier for us to generate partnerships. And sometimes it's not as easy to generate partnerships and to believe in our own people. And many times it's because sometimes we go separately as small organizations. But this Top 100 offers us an opportunity to create the necessary alliances and then the necessary partnerships to bid for those bigger projects as a people, so that we can do a lot more and again drive the economy of this country. I know of no government in the world that has developed by turning the other cheek. I know many of the organizations, even as we talk about India and China, they have only recently been opening their markets in the last decade, because they focused on developing their own internal talent, their own internal capacities. And it's not until they felt they were ready that they say, now, to menyana kwa uwaja. So sometimes as we have probably that tendency of doing it a little too quickly. And on that note, I would even want to suggest, in the last 5 years, there is a story that I've been reading in the nation, and as you know, nation has this tendency of telling the truth all the time. And the story goes like this. We start with a company called Thiamine, and this is purely meant to be an example. And 5 years ago, I read of a company called, first of all, 6 years ago, I read that we had discovered a mineral in Kware. Then the next day, I read that the Canadians were coming to mine that mineral. And then 3 years ago, I read that the Canadians had given up mining that mineral, and they had handed over to the Chinese. Now, last year, I read that the Chinese are busy giving up, and the place is looking a little abandoned. But in the meantime, we are talking about how we can move those people away so that those companies can mine. But one thing I never read in the nation, I don't know whether to blame the nation, I never read a statement like Kenyans are coming to mine those minerals. And maybe that is therein lies a challenge, that we need to ourselves make ourselves ready, and maybe for our government to help facilitate so that some of those opportunities that we have, we can start taking advantage. I'm very clear that the opportunity with Top 100 and related organizations does offer us a huge opportunity to start taking advantage of such natural endowments that God has granted us in this land. And maybe towards that, because we normally talk about Top 100, and I saw the survey that has been done by Senovate, looking at the whole issue about raising capital, and finding that most of the Top 100 are driving their capital through family savings, through own input from friends, and maybe a time has come for us to expand that and look at other cheaper sources of capital. And towards this end, we've got one of our partners who is Nairobi Stock Exchange, and tonight they are represented by the CEO. And I can only urge that we fast track an initiative he talked to us about yesterday, where they are looking at an alternative investment market, where the Top 100 can come and be able to raise capital in various forms, rather fast, instead of probably the more laborious process that we have done traditionally. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, I do not want to take a lot of time, but I want to just say, first of all, I want to take the opportunity and recognize and honor a couple of people who have, who last year, we started an initiative of recognizing the companies that are growing beyond Top 100. And like Robert said, Top 100 are companies whose turnover is from 70 million on the lower side to $1 billion. And on our second year, we had a graduation. And some of the people who graduated, who are now joining Club 101, and therefore become, if you like it, elders to hold our hands as we travel through that journey of getting to over $1 billion. Some of them are here today. So I want to honor and the CEO of Magnet Ventures, Mr. Kenyajui. If you could start and wave at people. This is this is now an elder of Top 100. He belongs to Club 101 out of his own hard work and his organization. We've got Captain Oluvare of Jetlink. Let us honor Captain Oluvare. This is an elder, homegrown elder of Club 101, and one who will be helping to hold hands as we travel that journey of creating organizations which are going to be multinationals of tomorrow. And the third one who is here is Mr. Amarwa of Merek Engineering. If you remember Mr. Amarwa, he was actually the winner of Top 100. This time when we asked him, are you participating? He said, I don't mind participating, but you need to raise the upper limit to 1.5 billion. Now that we have not consulted KPMG, we did not do that. And therefore, he's now an elder of Club 101, who also, he tells me, although we are going to have a chance, to talk about the others, and there are many, and I know Mr. Maura is going to talk about the details of the others. But that is the spirit, ladies and gentlemen. This is an initiative that talks about our performance, talks about excellence, and talks about how we can move our people, our organizations, our country into achieving the Vision 2030. It is one thing to talk about Vision 2030 in boardrooms, is another to actually work with the people who are helping to achieve that Vision 2030. Look at the needs, look at how we can competitively address those needs as a people, and really help to move to the next level. And I believe this economy will be delivered by the people sitting in this room, and also others of similar aspirations probably sitting elsewhere. Finally, since will not be able to come back here to talk, I want to thank our partners, KPMG, who have been very faithful partners in the last 3 years. We started in Kenya. In Uganda, we are going to do the second year. In Tanzania, we'll be doing it for the first year, but we are holding ourselves together with KPMG to ensure that we drive that. So I want to take this opportunity to thank KPMG for being such great partners in this initiative and ensuring that it succeeds. And finally, to the guys who've been organizing this event on both sides of KPMG and Nation Media Group and the event managers who've been involved, I want to say asante sana. And finally, please enjoy, so that this is an opportunity for us to just relax, enjoy, and really celebrate good deeds that we have done in the last 1 year. So asanteni sana, Mungu ambariki, and I look forward to a great evening. Thank you.